He's Marler, and this is his music show.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another craptastic episode of the Marler Music Show. I am David, otherwise known as the Marler. Today I want to give you my review on the new Extreme album 6. I'm going to go track by track. This is an album that's been highly anticipated by rock and metal fans, Extreme fans, and I think by the guitar community in particular because of Rise and the solo that was in that video song. It's a video I think it's got over 3 million views on YouTube. Highly listened to, highly watched. It's been dissected many, many times. I'm not going to bore you with my total dissection of it, but I think it's a great opening song. We're going to start with that one. Obviously, it's the first track on the album. Fantastic solo, fantastic vocals. I think the chorus is a little bit Def Leppard-y, but it's catchy. But I think once you, as a guitar freak like I am, once you cut out a little bit of that stuff and just listen to the bass of the guitar really captures the whole essence of the song, and then the solo is just fantastic and just so amazing. Probably one of the best I think Dino's ever done, definitely in a long time. And definitely, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best solo to come out in a song in many years. Can't even venture to say how long it's been since we've had a solo that's been that fantastic, but I think it's been quite a while myself. So it's a great opening track. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because everybody's heard it a million plus times, so we all know what it is. Track 2, #Rebel, which was part of a dual single release they did for the second part of releases for this album. They did that along with Banshee, which is number 3 on here. Rebel's the second song. In a weird way, that the riff may be a little bit of better opener in terms of I think it's maybe a better riff than Rise. It's really catchy. I absolutely love the chorus. Verse, not so much. To me, it's a little bit, I won't say cheesy, but doesn't. When I first heard it, loved the opening riff. Verse was like the chorus, and of course, once again, he does a solo on here that is, it's amazing. Again, it's Nuno. So and you're probably going to hear that word come from my mouth throughout this whole review of how wonderful I think his soloing is, because I think he's one of the best guitarists on the planet right now, if not the best, which that's debatable. But yeah, there's some amazing parts in the solo that are almost on par with some of the parts in Rise. They sound a little different, but it just shows how good he is. On to the next song, which is number 3, Banshee, which was also a song they released on the same day as a single with #Rebel. I like this, a straightforward, hard-hitting intro and beat. I think it shows how good of a drummer Fig is, how solid he is, and also I think it's, there are other songs that do this, but I think it shows how good of a rhythm section that him and Pat are. It's a good song. It's kind of catchy. Another good solo. I think it's something that it's weird that they kind of put the first 3 songs as being maybe the heaviest on the album right away. But that's another good solid song on the album to start it out. We move on to number 4, which was actually a single they released about a week before the album came out, called "Other Side of the Rainbow." This is a little bit ballady. It gets heavy in certain points. It's a good solid ballad. It shows that Gary still got it vocally. Lyrically, it's one of those that's probably, the girls are going to like it, and it's kind of a love song or whatever, but I think it's a really good solid song. It's got some great guitar in it. The guitar solo is very good. In fact, I remember seeing an interview with Nuno a while back, a few months ago, but he was talking about the new album, and he was saying that this solo possibly might be his favorite solo that he did on this album. And I can kind of see that it's a little different, but it's still good and solid, and still just to me it makes the song overall. It's a good song in its own right, but most of their stuff, his soloing, if a song is kind of lagging at the beginning or you're not sure about it, usually his solo brings this song brings those songs to the top a little bit, and I think it's no different with this one. Another number 5 is "Small Town Beautiful." It's kind of strange. The first 3 songs were heavier, then they go kind of power ballady, and then this one's more of not quite power ballady, but it is ballady. Kind of strange. You got 3 kind of heavy ones, 2 lighter ones in there. I guess shaking things up a little bit. It's a good song. It's a song I feel like that could probably be a really good hit for them. If not today, one that, like, if they'd put this out around the Porn Graffiti era, I think this could have been probably on par with More Than Words. Maybe not quite that popular, but pretty close, and even Wholehearted to an extent. You know, it's one of those that's pretty good in terms of just the whole composition of it, but it's not something that it's not going to be one of my favorites on the album. But I do feel like it would have the possibility as being a good single for them at some point. Number 6, The Mask. Now this one here is one of my favorites on the album. I love, and I'm almost positive, my friend of mine and I were talking about this on Friday after we first gave an initial listen. I feel like the opening verse or the verses were sung by Nuno because it's not Gary. I think it's Nuno having kind of a weird country kind of voice, which I love. We kind of threw around the possibility, was that Pat Badger maybe, but I don't think it is. I think it's Nuno, and I love the hook on this. I just love the way the vocals are presented on this. It's nothing fancy really overall, but it's just a cool sounding song the way it starts out and the way the vocals come in and everything. And I like the message of it too, is that everybody's wearing a mask. Nobody really shows their true self to everybody all the time, and so it's that's a whole other story. But so far, this is gone through the first half of the album. This is one of my favorite on the first half of the album. It's probably my second behind Rise so far, and it's probably one of my favorites on the album overall. Number 7 is a song called "Thicker Than Blood." It's a little bit different sounding for them, especially on this album. I mean, it shows their versatility, which I think they tend to do not on every album, but they have pretty much on every album since Porn Graffiti was a little bit getting into that. Excuse me. Once they put out 3 sides to every story, every album since then they've showed their versatility. Nuno with his guitar playing, Gary with his vocals, and just the band as a whole from song to song, very versatile. And this song here is no different. It's completely versatile compared to the rest of the album and anything that they've done on it so far. Very good song. I think it's got a lot of sound in it that reminds me from certain parts of the album, Waiting on the Punchline, which Waiting on the Punchline is probably my favorite Extreme album. I think they started getting a little more diverse with Porn Graffiti, then 3 sides, and then when they put out Punchline, it showed a lot of different sides of the band musically as far as the different sound, and Nuno even more of what he could do sonically with the guitar. And there's parts of this song that remind me of that quite a bit. So that's my thought on the first 6 or 7 here. Had to get back to my notes. Song number 8, Save Me. I love the good hard edge riff after the initial intro. Love the riff. It's just kind of slamming, rock and roll. I love the chorus. It's not going to be one of my favorite songs on the album, but it's still solid. And it's, once again, a good solo from Nuno. which you just, like I said earlier in the video, you're going to hear me say that pretty much about everything that's on here, because I'm trying to think of a solo on here that's not really solid. There may be one towards the end that is not as solid as for him as it would be, but for some people it'd be great. But once again, good put together song, good solo, fits well within the album. The next one is Hurricane. And this is another one that I feel like is Nuno on vocals at some point. Sometimes it's hard to tell because Nuno's got a very distinct voice, but it can also blend very well with Gary's, as has been shown in previous songs with them, More Than Words being the most obvious. Their voices blend very well together, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate who's who depending upon what, Nuno's doing with his voice or whatever. It's got great vocals all the way around. It's another one I think could be a hit. I think it could be a hit currently in this day. I don't know so much. It sounds a little bit different than anything that might could have been a hit back in their heyday. I definitely think it could be a hit for them at some point, if they choose to release it as a single. The next song, number 10, X Out. This is in my top 3. I haven't decided if I like it better than The Mask, although I'm leaning towards it very, very heavily. Let me get a drink here. My throat's getting dry. I've had the flu, so just bear with me, guys. This song I think it's fantastic. It's a really different for them. The beginning of it and a lot of the parts going in and out of the verses and the chorus and through the middle section sounds a lot like the Stranger Things intro, which I personally love. I think it's pretty cool. And I don't know if I don't think they copied this. I just think maybe there's some inspiration there for it. The biggest question I have about the sounds on this, there's some things you definitely tell are guitar. There are some things that you're like, is that a keyboard, a synth? Is that guitar? Because some of the stuff he did on Rise, if you listen to it, you're like, same thing. Is that guitar he's doing, or is that something else? And it was been shown he was doing guitar there. I'd be very curious to find out, and hopefully it'll come out in future videos by other people or by the band, or you can leave a comment below and let me know if you know for sure. Is all of that guitar playing, or is it part synthesizer, part keyboard, or whatever? Because it's really cool sounding. And if that is guitar only, it just shows more and more how amazing this man is on guitar. And this song is one that I feel like possibly is the best song musically and lyrically on the album. Could be the best overall song. I love the lyrics. I love the feel of the song. I love the way it takes you. And it's one of those songs that it kind of builds up and takes you to a point where you think it's going to take off, but it never does. It goes and then levels back down and it builds you up, and it kind of leaves you waiting for more at the end of the song. And I love that. I love songs like that because there's not a finish to it, but it's like, oh, that could be more, and I want to hear it again and again and again just to see if it's there. And of course, it's not. But I love that about the song, and this is, like I said, in my top 3, at least. And we'll see, as time goes on, where this ranks for me in order of favorite songs on this album. That leaves us with 2 more. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. I think these 2 are they're good songs. They close out the album. To me, after the ebb and flow of the rest of it, this just kind of levels out and just ends. First one's Beautiful Girls. This one's kind of got a good party feel to it, hanging around the pool or you're on the beach or whatever, and you can picture the song and picture a video being made of it, all these girls going around and this, that, and the other. And it's pretty good for that. It's very poppy. Not going to be one of my favorites on the album. Probably my bottom 4 if I had to guess. But again, it shows their diversity. Something that I've always thought, especially after Extreme 3 came out, Three Sides to Every Story. I've always thought they were one of the most diverse bands around. Not necessarily album to album, even though that's true, but within the album, song to song, or couple songs, they're very diverse. They can do everything from poppy stuff to ballady stuff to hard rocking stuff to almost a metal edge. And that, this entire album is proving that to that extent. And maybe this could be their most extensive album of all time in terms of showing their diversity as a band. And that leaves number 12, Here's to the Losers. It's a good song. Again, not going to be one of my faves on here. It's got good vocals. I think it's got good lyrics. I think it can be very inspirational lyrics. I think this is a song that I don't know what the mindset was when Gary was writing the lyrics for this, but I think this is a song that, anybody's going through a rough time. They try something and they fail and they want to give up, saying, hey, you can do this. You can't succeed. Most people can't succeed without learning. And most of the time you can't learn without failing. And it gives props to those people and let you know, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. Just keep trying at it. Keep going at it. But yeah, it's a good song. Not one of my faves, but I do like certain aspects of it in a better way than certain aspects of other songs. So it's a very good blend that they've done here lyrically, musically, just all the way around. So my final take as far as rating it overall, from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it 7.5 or 8. It's not, to me, a 10 is one of those albums that I can put on, and from opening song, opening lick, opening vocal, whatever, to the very last where it fades out, I don't skip a track, nothing. This one isn't quite there. The only album for me of theirs that's there is Waiting for the Punchline, which is my favorite of theirs of all time. This one's not quite there. There's probably, if nobody listens to albums anymore on a regular basis, beginning to end. I do occasionally. So I think an occasion arises where I do that with this one. I'll probably skip one here or there. I don't know. It probably would depend on what kind of mood I'm in or whatever. But this isn't one I could see myself listening all the way through consistently, track by track, without skipping something. So overall, I'll give it 7.5 or 8, which is still very good. It's a great album. And as far as the question of where does it rank for me among the rest of theirs, I think only time's going to tell. Right now, I've got to put it probably in the middle, which they've got 6, so you can't really put it in the middle. But I would say either, at this moment, either maybe 3 or 4. My favorite is Punchline. My second favorite, I go back and forth between Porn of Graffiti and Three Sides to Every Story. Saladas de Rock I thought was really solid, and I thought over time that's held up very well. So I think this one's somewhere in the middle right now, but stay tuned. Down the road that could change for me, and I might update you on it, and it could be totally different. Who knows? So, but anyway, that is my take on the new Extreme album. I'm interested to see in the comments what y'all's take is on it, what y'all think about it. Also in the comments, leave me any suggestions, feedback, or whatever. Future. By the way, this is going to be my first. I've got a podcast called The Marler Music Show, same name, mainly on Spotify, but you should be able to find like on Apple iTunes, on Amazon, anywhere you get podcasts. I've done about 10 or so episodes of that over the past year or so. I took a hiatus for a while, moved from Memphis to Douglasville, Georgia. So, for those of y'all watching on YouTube, I'll put a link in below for that podcast, and you can hear back episodes if you'd like to. If you want a good laugh, hey, nothing better in the world, I promise you. This is going to be my first YouTube video correlating with my podcast, and I'm going to try to do that with every future episode. Have the podcast and then have the YouTube video of it as well, so you can do that. So, in the comments below, tell me to stop, quit making everybody cry by doing this. Give me any suggestions of anything you might want to, topics you might want to hear about or see me do. You can also email me at themarlermusicshow@gmail.com and do the same thing, and I will respond to y'all in as timely fashion as I can. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. I've taken up enough of your precious time. So until next time, be good to each other, treat yourself well, and life will treat you good. Peace!